Turn player for Mouse Sports, it is HeroMarine.
And in the top right-hand side, a new repugnancy, it's Reynor from Gamers Origin.
Yes.
So, but Cyberforest has been, I don't know, I see it pretty commonly vetoed now by Tyrants and ZvT,
Yeah,
actually.
it's actually not that great for Terran, I feel like.
I feel like a bit surprisingly.
Nah, it's just not a comfortable map for Terrans because
Oh, yeah.
of all the rams, and it's quite hard to attack through the middle. And we are soon to be joined by Rotterdam as he just walks away again.
Well, so for now, nothing out of the ordinary. I think we saw, or I'm pretty sure actually, we saw guest first from HeroMarine here, but now just Reaper.
Yeah, but guess first is actually not that standard. He's going to SCV Scout because this is quite a small map, and Reynor likes to open pool first. And yeah.
Oh, very early drone at the third. But yeah, he's actually skipping the second queen for now. And there's also no overlord, so yeah, he's just going for very early third hatch. Just to get it not blocked by the SCV or or the Reaper.
Alrighty, nerds, since nobody wants to join you guys, I figure like you guys look so lonely on this big couch, just the two of you. I'll do a little TVZ with my German boys. Obviously, didn't really miss much so far. What are your expectations for the series, guys? Reynor against HeroMarine, I think it's starting to become a little bit of a European classic as well, right? Because these guys, they often go far. Obviously, HeroMarine was the only one to beat Reynor in WCS Winter, right? In that big group stage. So what do you guys think of this best of 5?
Actually, every time I talk to HeroMarine, he's quite confident against Reynor. He's always like, I think I'm the better player and I should beat Reynor because I know how he plays and all that stuff. But the results don't always show that. So I'm quite excited for this game. I think it's going to be close. And yeah.
I think if we talk to Reynor, you're going to get the exact same thing, though.
Probably.
Reynor is also a very confident little young man. Italian confidence, absolutely. Reynor truly believes in himself, and he should. I mean, the results are spectacular. Like I say this pretty often, and that's just because I think it's such a remarkable stat. But if you don't count that WCS Winter group stage loss, which was obviously an online event, ever since Reynor has been eligible to compete in WCS events, he has never lost in any of those spring circuits, summer or last year events. Valencia, Montreal, other than Cerro, he has never lost against anyone. That's ridiculous. Right. He wins every group he's ever been in the playoffs. He always goes until he runs into Cerro. Obviously, even won Winter in the final against Cerro. I think it's an absolutely ridiculous statistic, and it just kind of shows that, in my opinion, Reynor too has really separated himself from all the other really good European players.
Yeah, he's been really good. Like the first one to beat Cerro in the finals, that was actually quite sick.
Oh yeah, that was a really exciting result. Even though Cyril in Winter was also, especially in the group stage first, he didn't show the common Cyril class. He lost also to HeroMarine.
Yeah, he lost 2 series, man. Like,
being actually, HeroMarine played in that series also a bit
good.
more...
BattleMech.
Super good, but BattleMech more exciting. So I'm curious if we're going to see that. I talked to Insane earlier. I think it's more the stock standard style that HeroMarine plays right now. I also talked to Naruto actually, and he said HeroMarine is looking to play only stock standard this tournament and look how far he can go.
Okay.
So it might be a bit more of a tryout tournament for him to see where he stops being so good with it.
Yeah, I think Big Gabe in general is very relaxed when it comes to HomeStoryCup, right? He truly kind of feels that this is his stomping ground and he just wants to show up, and he always does really well. He always puts up really good performances, even if he drops out against some of the Koreans. Like, I think back in the past when he had those games against Zest, truly epic best of 5s, like the 3-2 loss, another 3-2 loss. And even yesterday again, I think it was a really fun series. So definitely looking forward to this one so far. Other than a couple of little skirmishes, not too many things have happened. So Insane, quick question. How's your HomeStoryCup experience been so far?
Actually, my group hasn't been that great. It's my second HomeStoryCup. The first one went even better than this time. Obviously, this time wasn't great. I'm not going to talk too much about it, I guess. You guys can look it up. And yeah, but otherwise, the atmosphere is great. Everyone is so nice. It's so nice to meet everyone, from the Twitch chat, from the communities. meeting the casters, even casting yourself. I'm casting a lot on B stream and the German stream, and you normally don't get those opportunities, and that's why I love HomeStoryCup.
Yeah, and you had a very tough group though, right? I mean, like everyone, especially because Snoot was looked at to be like, okay, he's kind of a fun player here. He's here because he's Snoot. Then suddenly he shows up and he wins 4 freaking best of 3s.
Oh, yes,
you know?
yes. He was so close to advancing as well.
He beat Reynor as well, guys.
Yes,
and the funny thing
what
is,
a
I spoke with Reynor. Reynor is like, I can't believe it. I'm so freaking stupid. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I beat Snoot in TVZ. TVZ, Ronnie. TVZ, I win. And I lose ZvT because I all in. I'm so stupid. And I was like, well, you know, it is what it is, but still an awesome showing, obviously, by Jens. For now, this game is really starting to heat up a little bit. Reynor is 12 workers ahead. He's getting all those upgrades that we know he loves to get. The double Evo style, +1 melee, carapace on the way. Anything that really stands out for you, Ian Blue?
So far, Reynor has been just really well defending of all the run-bys. So very early on, we saw the first 2 Hellions. There was still no link speed, and he still defended with like only 3 drone losses. And even the Liberators defended very well, and also the follow-up Hellions got eventually surrounded. So yeah, so far, defensively, really good looking for Reynor.
I'm actually quite surprised he's playing Bio against Reynor. I feel like Reynor is really aggressive, and if you play Battle Mech or normal Mech, he's gonna have a more tough time, and HeroMarine actually knows that. But
I think it could be a map thing though, right? Because if I think of a map where I love Marine Tank, this is probably the map. In the middle of the map with all those weird little edges and walls that we have, I feel like it is very possible to get some good spacing on those tanks and eventually make it almost impossible for the Zerg to get that dream engagement.
Yeah, actually it's more about the map. I guess on a bigger map he will choose Mech.
Yeah. And maybe like an Acropolis, there's a good chance we're going to see him play some of that Battle Mech.
And I also think his Mech play is a bit stronger than his Bio play. What do you think?
Hard for me to say. I'm going to trust you on it. I think you're the Terran expert here.
I especially think Reynor is actually a bit weaker versus Mech, or especially more defensive styles. There was a series versus Marine Lord, and I felt like Reynor was really, really over-aggressive. Like he just didn't really know when to stop putting on his foot on the gas pedal. Like he really overreacted. And there was this point in time sometimes in these games where you think, well, now you just go into super late games. Some nice hits on those Banemans.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I do think the one thing that stood out is that you say Reynor is in general weaker against very defensive players. And I'm definitely with you. When I think back of the IM Katowice series that he had against Gumio, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, Reynor really should be able to do this. I was like, well, skill-wise, I think he's there, don't get me wrong. But stylistically, Gumio is just not a nice Terran for Reynor to face. And that's why I really didn't think he was going to win that series. And in the end, he did fall as well. But I do believe he has already grown as well. Reynor truly is not somebody that stops improving. And I feel like he too gets stronger from losses. He analyzes them. So I feel like in the past where he has made those mistakes of being indeed too overly aggressive, going for run-bys where there was nothing to run for, you know, just sacrificing units, I think he got a bit better at hitting his transitions on time.
Absolutely.
This game is actually going
The tank killed the mine.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, there was a wind mine there and then it was gone.
This is some really good creep spread so far. He defended even the drops now very well. So yeah, I'm curious to see maybe Reynor is also a bit more careful this time around. So we're
What did you want to say?
There's just not a lot happening so far.
No +2 armor for HeroMarine. I think he forgot it actually.
Yep.
Oh right, good. Yeah, good that you say that.
Because he's got 2 eBays right next to each other as well. 4 mines, we're able to pick off 10 drones. It's obviously quite nice. Nothing that's going to break the game right here. But yeah, they're right next to each other. So that is indeed a pretty big mistake. Because normally you're supposed to be able to maybe start pushing that creep back for real. I actually kind of really like the Widowmine with Drilling Claws. Obviously, once Broodlords show up, they're going to become useless. But I feel like if he would make his big push now, oh, this is going to be hard for Reynor. And near the Planetary as well. I mean, those are some surprisingly good bailing hits. I feel like they're a little better than what they should have been.
Yeah.
Planetary was also not done yet. So,
I think the +2 armor is really big, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel if he wanted to hit a 2-2 timing, he can't right now because he's got 2-1. And he just lost so many Marines. I mean, the supply is still up there for Big Ape, though, and he's really starting to work on that creep. Wants to create a little bit of freedom and opportunity in the middle of the map. That's going to be a good hit.
Raiders fire already on the way. Yeah. This is looking grim.
Now he starts +2 armor, that is. Contaminate even being used on that starport. I think Reynor's doing a good job. He just wants to keep HeroMarine at bay, right? It's like, you just stay away from my bases while I'm getting my greatest fire. And so far, Reynor is, I mean, surviving without really ever being in any danger at all.
Yeah, it just makes it really weird game where just not a lot is happening, because as Zerg it's always really hard to kill a Terran actually. So he's just going, putting himself in a really good position while HeroMarine doesn't really get the opportunity to push himself.
No, there's no way HeroMarine kills him at
No.
with any push in the near future.
Right now for HeroMarine it just means sitting back and trying to trade better, right?
He's getting 2-star perks,
Yeah.
Fusion Core. Probably after that hitting into the ghosts and just sitting back.
I feel like it's going to take a little while before he gets there, right? Because the Great Aspire is done, and only now HeroMarine is thinking about that phase in the game. The Lings and Banes are going to crash into the bio here once again. All of these mines will get picked off. I truly feel that fight before that we had right here, before the planetary was done, that fight should have gone way better for HeroMarine. It was sort of off creep. He had the mines. He just didn't run away as much as he should have, and the Baneling connections were simply way too big. Once again, they are a little bit too big there. And man, like HeroMarine is actually in a lot of trouble already, guys.
Yeah. He's trading really bad, actually. The +2 armor adds a lot into that, but the Baneling hits are just
Too good. They're too good this game. And that's obviously, yes, Reynor is good, guys, and Reynor is trying to do whatever he can, but a lot of that is simply on HeroMarine. He can control his units better there. We know that he's capable of it as well, but the trades are simply a little too good right now for Reynor. There is a counter drop happening as well on the other side of the map. It may do some damage, but if you look at all this Zerg over here...
It's just a bit much, probably. So I feel like he's just he just had one tank the whole game, maybe two. So I feel like that's a big deal. If you can hold positions a bit better versus especially Lingbane Hydra, with just a couple more tanks, and that's maybe also where it went wrong in the very first big engagement, because he didn't have tanks to kill the Banelings. Yeah, the mines take some time to kill Lingbane.
Yeah, normally you don't really want mines against Hydras. I guess he expected Ling Bane play only from Reynor, but since the Hydras came out, he didn't switch to tanks, which is kind of surprising.
I also think, I kind of like mines against Ling Bane, but not necessarily on this map. On this map, I truly prefer tanks. Like on some of the bigger maps, if this was Acropolis or King's Cove, whatever, I'd be like, yeah, mines can actually be really sick, and I can absolutely see them have a very big impact. Here, I feel like it's kind of too still, too straightforward, and I don't feel like mines will shine as much as some of those bigger, more wide open maps. I mean, at least with advanced ballistics on the way, right? And the starports are starting to truly pump out some units. HeroMarine is still maxed out, but it's starting to feel a little bit dire. Just because you look at the mini-map, almost everything is covered. I think HeroMarine is going to have a tough time securing his 5th base. And I mean, you mentioned goals before, Insane. That's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the creep, the bases, the Zerg force is closing in on him. And now he's engaging, actually.
Okay, just probably just pushing him back just to the edge of the creep. But yeah, as you said, like the creep spread is just so massive. There's so much. And as I said earlier, it's just really hard for a Zerg to kill a Terran completely. And you'd rather just expand upon your advantage as Zerg and stay defensive, try to get engagements on creep.
Well, that's quite a few Liberators. Let's see if the Libs can make some magic happen. That's a massive stim. The Banelings coming in from the left top side, though. That is a sweet little flank there by Reynor. There is still that planetary that's going to provide some coverage. This time the control's so much better on the side of HeroMarine. If he would have done this before, guys, this would have been a completely different game. Now I'm afraid it's just not going to make the difference, because you look at those brutes, and as long as the brutes are alive, I think he's going to have a tough time.
Really big deal here was the Hydras just attacking the planetary. They weren't really like reinforcing with the Brute Lords or trying to kill the Liberators. So a lot of the firepower just got stuck at the planetary that didn't get even killed at that point.
Yeah, also considering HeroMarine is still on 4 bases against the 5, 6 bases.
Too many. The map.
The whole map.
Yeah,
exactly.
87 workers. He's mining so much more than HeroMarine all the time.
A couple of Marauders and 2 Marines are going to find this new base. We'll see a few of these drones. I mean, I must say, the one thing that HeroMarine has been doing throughout this game is killing a lot of workers. There are plenty of TVZs where Terran barely gets any work done. I feel like easily 40 drones have gone down.
What are those 3 drones?
Nobody knows, but can we take a look at the amount of workers that have gone down so far? It must be like around 40, right? Yeah, 41 drones going down in this game. That shows that HeroMarine has been active. It's just a bloody shame that the control wasn't there in those first few big fights.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just like a good point for the coming matches.
Absolutely.
Like absolutely, that he's just maybe a bit warming up, getting a bit into the series. Like the next two, I'm not scared at all, just because his position in this game has been a bit rough the whole game already. I'm not scared at all for HeroMarine.
I mean, at this point, he's still maxed out, right? He may not have any gulls, but he's got a lot of Liberators. He's got a couple Vikings as well. Don't know how many Corruptors we have out, but even though this has been far from a flawless game from HeroMarine, including for getting the armor upgrade, he is starting to put himself in a position where I'm like, yo, Raider's got to be careful over here. That's a big, sweet mine hit as well. 15 kills immediately on that boy. There is going to be a big run by these Lings and Banes. May actually be enough to kill the Planetary now.
You can save that, that would be really good.
Not quite. But
losing all the SCV is obviously not nice, but you don't want to lose your 4th.
I mean, how many infestors do we have? Barely any. I don't
there
see
are
a single
no infestors.
There are a couple parasitic bombs though. This is on creep, so these bailing hits are going to be very big. But can he kill all the air units, guys? Just a few.
The parasitic bombs have been so massive here, and there's just a few Hydras supporting fire as well for the Corruptors. But Reynor shouldn't
Those mines, by the way. Those mines in the middle of the map, there were like 3 or 4 of them. I see a lot of dead bodies there on the south side. So, I mean, Reynor is a little bit up in supply, but he really doesn't have that much of a bank. He doesn't have that many infestors. He still does have all the broods, and he does have all these bases. There are 4 goals, by the way, being produced now. I don't think we have personal cloaking yet, so that would be a sweet upgrade to get as well. But obviously, HeroMarine starving a tiny bit. Even though he's been killing a lot of drones, he's been losing quite a few SUVs as well against all these Lings and Banes.
Yeah, just look at the income. HeroMarine is down almost the whole game. Maybe in the mid game a little bit ahead, but right now it's just really in favor of Reynor.
So I feel like there has been just a bit of a lack of spellcasters from Reynor here. Like, yes, he has now 5 Vipers, I think.
Caustic spread.
God.
Oh, it's so strong.
Yes.
Oh my god, the damage is just so crazy.
Marauders are like, we're here. We're here. Oh, that's
So yeah,
nice.
just a little bit short on the spellcasters, I feel like. As you said, like barely infestors, no infestors at all, actually. And like, maybe even pulling the queens to support, that's some really nice damage on those Corruptors. But just pulling the queens as support also for the Broodlords, they tank a lot of Liberator shots as well.
I'm actually surprised that Reynor doesn't seem that rich, right? Like, I know he's been quite reckless with the Lings and Banes, and he has been doing a good job chipping away the economy as he's going to get a few more SCVs here, but the Liberators will keep it safe. Even though it feels like this has been mostly Reynor for, you know, the majority of this game, HeroMarine's still in it, and if he gets a little bit of time and that goals count goes up to 8 or 10, and he gets a few more of those Vikings and the Liberators, there is some hope here for our Terran player.
Now the first infestors on the way. 3 infestors.
Okay, no hope anymore, we're done.
After 19 minutes.
Maybe the army of Reynor is just really, really dense. There's Broodlords and Corruptors that cost a lot for their supply, the Vipers as well. So
I've got a question for you guys. I think a lot of people look at Reynor as the second best Zerg in Europe, right? Even though Lambo's really up there as well and always deserves to be mentioned. Settle obviously undisputed the best. But how would you rank Reynor when it comes to controlling the super late game armies, when it comes down to the Vipers and the Infestors? Because in general, that's a different skill and you can have a different ranking. So how do you see that in Neon Blue?
That's hard to say. I think he doesn't really like the really late game with Infestors and Vipers. So, for example, I would rate him on a level with Elaser, I think.
Okay.
And Elaser doesn't really like going late game. He likes his all-ins and really powerful mid-game and even late-game pushes.
Can maybe get a Viper there. That would be sweet.
yeah, I can really agree with that. I also feel like Reynor is just the kind of Zerg, more like Sue or Elaser, who's just like very focused on mid-game pushes and like getting ahead in the mid-game. And
is there a Zerg that really stands out for you guys that may not necessarily be like as good as the Reynors and the Lambos and the Ceros, but you do feel like, damn, if he gets to a maxed out army, I feel like he's actually really damn good with it.
I think Lambo has great control, actually. Okay. Like, he practices a lot of late game, and he actually knows a lot about TVZ late.
Oh my goodness, well.
So many ghosts.
Talking about some spellcasting, guys. Those are some damn good parasitic bombs, a couple of big fungals as well. I don't know how many of these units in the end will fall, but that was quite a bit of mechanical damage.
Any of the Infestors survive? Because I feel like they're in the same control group as the Banelings, and just they moved into the Liberators.
That's the point.
So, yeah, that's also, like, he's just...
It's a different skill, right?
Absolutely. It's a very, very different way to play. Because you are not too much pushing your advantage on economy anymore, but you're more looking to just get the right fights and like be very efficient. And that's why I felt like also the whole, like from the start, that just maybe this is HeroMarine's way to play, like very defensive, not too overly aggressive that you can just lose the game right out, but more just like, yeah, defending. And that is exactly what he's doing this game, even though he was out on the out like in a bad position for a long time of the game.
There's another mine here. We only get a single circling. That planetary is going to be in a rather dicey spot. This is an important fight for Reynor, even though he's got a lot of minerals in the bank. The Baneling's looking for the connections.
Oh, great split.
Yep.
The ghost.
A couple Banes do go through, but look at these ghosts. Big Gabe really leveling up over here. Now he should be able to land a couple of the big snipes. He has been losing a lot of supply, obviously, in this fight. Reynor immediately fires up an insane amount of units, so yes, he's still maxed out. I mean, the fact is that like HeroMarine can't really afford to lose all these expensive units, right? The Vikings and the Liberators, just because this hasn't really been his game.
I mean, just look at the supply. Reynor instantly rebuilding from his bank, and HeroMarine slowly climbing up in the supply again. If he hits before HeroMarine reaches a critical supply again, he will just crush him, I feel like.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the ghost that survived that fight. I feel like the control was great there by HeroMarine, but the Reynor just seemed to have a little bit too much. And obviously the spellcasting, I mean, even though he might be reckless with the units, he is at least landing them on the right time. Because the fungals and parasitic bombs have been big.
Good enough, really. I feel like it just also the position was really, really bad for Big Gabe. Because he was on the low ground, he was a bit caught off guard, he was right in the middle of nowhere, kind of. And he had to suddenly split everything. And he didn't manage to split his air units just as well as he ghosts. So the parasitic bombs, the fungus, they just did so much damage there.
I love the fighting spirit of HeroMarine here, though, and the patience that he's been displaying. Like, he knows that this has not been his game. He knows it's been rough, and he's always been in a rough spot. But he just refuses to give up. And he's like, you know what? If I can just one time get that ideal army of Liberators, Vikings, and Ghosts, and maybe there is still something for me to achieve. Obviously, he's down a little bit in workers, so if HeroMarine is close to maxing out, that means his army is actually going to be a little bit bigger. He's still resting a little bit as well. I like the shots of the advanced ballistic Liberators because they're so much thicker, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't realize they look different.
Yeah, they do.
That's kind of funny. So to get back on the point maybe of the really good late game Zergs, if there's one who stands really out for me, it's Snoot, because he was always known for that. Of course, now he's not anymore full-time pro. He has decided to take a step back, but he's the kind of guy who was always super patient and really looking on his control. And that's why TVZ was also really, really strong always, because that is the way you play TVZ, where you're just very patient, very calm, collected, try to get the right engagements, try to land the right spells. And that's just Snoot's terrain. It's always been his kind of game, I feel like, for me.
Scan goes down on the main army of Reynor. I do agree with you there, Ian Blue. Snoot definitely probably the most patient guy in the book. A lot of Terrans back then, in between series, they would send me a couple of angry messages every now and then. This is unbearable, and you know, I would start chuckling a little bit, and I'll be like, I can't talk about it, guys. I do feel that HeroMarine has got one more shot in this game. Like, obviously, most of the mineral lines are drying up. The income is truly going to be gone soon for Big Gabe. I mean, only the left topside base. But I feel like this is it. Can he finally get that one fight he's been looking for? The first parasitic bomb will land on that Liberator. He's probably going to have to move that. Look at the ghost. I like the positioning of the ghost here. Maybe an EMP would be sicker. Imagine if he just lands one EMP on those units.
Oh.
Was that a nuke? I thought I saw a red dot.
No, there was just 3 snipes on the same Hydrolist. And they just stacked up like a little bit. But this one shot, that is the really scary part, because the army supply, losing so many workers just makes really good army supply.
Wow, by the way, only now at Reynor glance, that has to be a pretty damn big mistake with the amount of links and veins that Reynor likes to make. It's a very cheap upgrade, but makes those links so much stronger. So Reynor also forgetting one of his key upgrades in this game, and he's forced to give up on that base, guys. That's another parasitic bomb. Good job there by Big Gabe, splitting that Viking from the rest.
So this game is just a really, really slow one. There's not too much exciting stuff going on, but now we're just... Oh my god, the Widowmine!
And the Widowmine getting some really big hits on those Banes, and now Reynor's going to be forced to disengage. He is immediately rebuilding quite a bit of the units he lost there. But guys, you look at that bank, 1,800, 1,600, may seem like a lot. It's not, okay? If you lose the Brood Lords, if you lose the Corruptors or the Vikings, that bank is going to be gone real quick. The Parasitic Bomb does a little bit of damage, but HeroMarine on top of it once again. Guys, I'm starting to slowly but steady get the feeling that HeroMarine is actually taking control of this game.
The snipes! They're hitting everything. No spellcasters. There's just like a couple of Vipers, but I think they got sniped as well by now. So yeah, they're just juicing up right now. But man, this is looking rough for Reynor, just because of that one big army.
And now you look where that army is already as well, right? It's already near his front door. This is not like, okay, I'm in a little bit of trouble, but I've got plenty of time. No, this army is here, and this army is weapons ready. Let's dance. HeroMarine wants to get a few more snipes off, wants to get those Liberators even closer. Reynor obviously still in it, guys. He's still maxed out as well, but he's gonna need way better Baneling connections than he did in the previous fight. Oh, the Brutes! Oh my goodness, that's a lot of snipes going down.
He had no Overseer.
Just one fungal and all those snipes are cancelled. So that's like the really big deal here. So I feel like Reynor is just setting himself up a little bit for not taking the right engagements. He's just...
I think Reynor's dead, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
No infestors.
Like,
nothing.
I love how...
only if HeroMarine makes big mistakes, I think he can still win this game. Reynor can still win this game, but...
That was actually quite good. He just got 4 or 5 Vikings there. So maybe this is going to be the moment where Reynor feels that he can finally get close to those ghosts. That's what it all comes down to, right? Does he have a couple of Banelings in the middle of the map or something? Love to see another one of those flanks, Reynor. That's what made the difference before.
This is really, really, really close now. And now, again, all these snipes hitting on the Corruptors.
Sick thing is that HeroMarine is zoning him out as well, right? He's zoning away from the north side, so Banelings can't really flank from there. These Banes, they're connecting with Marines, but that's not what they want at all. They want to probably flank these Ghosts eventually. Like, how is HeroMarine supposed to get a good fight? He's going to run through all these liberation zones. He's going to ignore it for now. A lot more bios shows up on the left side. A few more Banes trying to do whatever they can, but Big Gape is awake, guys. He is woken up. He made a couple of mistakes early on, but damn, the control here by HeroMarine is really sick. There are only 3 more Banelings on the map.
Man, that is crazy. What a comeback. But wow, that's... Yeah, it looks like it's game. There's just nothing really to fight. There's one fungal just now.
That is actually one hell of a performance by Big Gabe. It truly feels that he leveled up. He refused to die. Minute 14, minute 15, slowly but steady, he started to get a better army, and it just felt like in the beginning of the game we were looking at a relatively normal EU Terran just trying to split and a few too many Baneling hits to the face, and it's like, whatever. Later on, it's Big Gabe being Big Gabe that he is. He's got Liberators everywhere now as well, killing so many drones. He must have killed close to 100 drones by now in this game, right? 98! I mean, what a performance.
Your guesses are so good.
Yeah, the first guess was on point as well. It was like...
I was off by 1. This time I'm off by 2. I'm declining, guys.
But the amount was larger, so...
Yeah, that's true.
So, I think you're fine.
No, awesome. I'm generally very impressed. Like we said, I was like, HeroMarine's still in it, but the control is going to have to be a lot better. Those first fights, they could have been better than what they were. And hey, I mean, this game just slowly but steady slipped out of Reynor's hands.
Yes, so many Corruptors right now. They're not like... HeroMarine just needs enough bio now. Yeah, and that's just probably going to be the last fight of this game. It's just running in from all sides. And the snipes on point as well. That is it.
Damn.
GG. HeroMarine winning a game in where we truly felt that it was almost time to maybe wave the white flag and just get ready for game 2. But he refused to give up. He had some phenomenal splits. Not just that final fight, but there was a fight before as well, where it feels like you're looking at, DeepMind. Is that Alpha Star or something splitting those ghosts over there? Because that almost didn't seem fair. Incredibly well done. I am very, very impressed for getting that big upgrade early on as well, but still just staying alive, refusing to die, and eventually turning things around. Damn.
Yeah, we all thought most of the game it was looking really bad for HeroMarine actually. And after that fight at the top, he was 110 supply against 200. And I thought, okay, there's no way he can come back from this. So this is pretty sick.
See Reynor's face as well. He's like...
He's actually... He seems a little annoyed
in
the game. So Yeah, I meant to say that earlier as well. Like, let's elaborate a little bit on that. I feel like Reynor isn't really setting himself up for success in those really big late game fights. He isn't really getting those infestors, the really big amount of like spellcasters. He's just getting a lot of brutes, a lot of corruptors, and then just hoping a little bit for a mistake from HeroMarine with those Banes. And yeah, just a couple Vipers here and there, but that was it generally. He isn't also using those Vipers to abduct or anything. He's just like kind of looking for the big engagement. And I feel like that's where it's just, yeah, going wrong a little bit, not really setting himself up for the good engagements.
I must say as well that I'm truly surprised with how much economic damage HeroMarine was able to do throughout the majority of that game, because we said it multiple times, the map is covered, guys. There was creep everywhere. So for Gabe to find himself killing 40 drones in a certain phase in the game, that's pretty damn good. And then still, despite the fact that Reynor was basically having everything, saw everything, he got 10 here, 10 there, and killing 10 drones once is not going to make the difference, but doing that 6 or 7 times in a row, then it's really starting to hurt Reynor a little bit as well. And there are so many TVZs I see where just for like 10 minutes straight, not a single drone goes down. Because some players also give up at one point. They'll be like, well, he sees everything anyway.
Yeah,
there is no point here, right?
Yeah, actually, like at some point when the creep is out of control like that, it's super hard to get damage done. But he did a great job with the Medivacs and the 4 mines. He had speed upgrades, so it's actually quite good.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, he just didn't settle for anything less. He's like, nope, I'm going to keep on trying because I'm only going to defend, and I'm truly never going to win this game because then his bank is going to be absolutely outrageous. And even if I get a good fight, you know, the wave after wave, it will become too much. He's like, I got to stay active, got to get something done. And like I said, it really feels like he leveled up as well with his control, because the first 2 fights is like, yeah, that's no bueno, Big Gabe. It's going to have to be better than that. And then he truly turned it up. Because that was probably as good as it possibly could be, some of those fights.
Really just like maybe warming up a bit into the series. Like even if you already played a series or whatever, like you sometimes need a few moments, obviously, a few minutes to like actually get up to speed. So the question I have is like, what is Reynor supposed to do now? Because the first game, it seemed like for most of the early and mid-game stages, everything went his way, right?
Yep.
Even the earliest harassment stages, no link speed, and he still defended the Hellions. No Spore Crawlers, and he still defended the Liberators very well. So what is Reynor, like, where does Reynor go now?
I honestly think he should avoid playing that scenario altogether. It's pretty clear Reynor is an incredibly good player, but StarCraft 2 is a very complex game, and it's always hard to put people in rankings because, you know, you've got different matchups, you have different stylistic preferences and stuff like that. Reynor is the second best Zerg in Europe. Almost nobody will fight you over that. But when it comes to the super late game scenarios, he's not the second best Zerg in Europe. He just doesn't shine there yet. So just avoid it altogether. I feel obviously if he had the Adrenal Glands a little bit quicker, I think he could have probably done way more damage with those run-bys. I mean, Insane, I can see the pain on your face when you think of like links with Adrenal Glands at +3 on your add-ons and stuff like that. They all just disappear.
Yeah.
So just a little more aggression in that late mid-game, right? When he's got that setup, he's got that 80 drone economy. He can obviously get Vipers and Infestors, but keep on the pressure and make sure he never faces the scenario where Big Gabe gets 10 plus goals and advanced ballistics and an economy, because I think he's almost going to lose that every single time.
Yeah, I think last game showed that he maybe should avoid this type of game.
Yep.
He should just maybe put on way more pressure than he did last game. More run-bys, more banelings. Just use your money that you're already getting. Like, he had a huge bank most of the time. So just trade it out, get his army even smaller, kill bases as often as you can.
How do you guys feel about like the addition of Nidus as well? If you're so rich in that phase in game, like I think if you just get a single Nidus here or there, one in the natural, one in the main or something, and you pop out those 20, 30 circlings, I always think it's so good, and I'm surprised to not see it.
What I think as well is like, you don't even need to put units in the Nidus after the first time. You just pop them, and you know HeroMarine is going to react because he has to, and he's seeing them. Of course he does. So yeah, I also feel like Reynor should obviously not go to these stages of the game, but I feel like so what you need to do is just deny bases. You need to put really the point of contention is to deny bases and deny planetaries and just blow them up with a lot of banes. Yes, because as soon as HeroMarine has bases established, there are a few turrets and he has vision and he is set up, and that's the part where it gets scary. If he just stops him from ever setting up, that is what he needs to do. So whenever HeroMarine goes out, takes a 4th or a 5th base, that's when you go.
That's quite a few Hellions, by the way, over here by our German Terran. Let's see if we can get something done. Obviously, the Queens do have that range and a lot faster on creep, so he's going to be fine for now.
Maybe this will be your mech game.
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, it makes sense, right? We said it on Acropolis. It just feels like, yep, there you go.
And then I also feel like that is probably the exact right call, because now if Reynor is agreeing with us, saying he wants to be really aggressive, then you can hit a really hard wall against mech. That can go super wrong with you, for you, especially if it's battle mech, because you kind of have to use the creep. You kind of have to stay defensive versus battle mech for a long, long time, because that is how you trade efficiently.
What's funny as well is that I know that, I mean, you probably know all about this ongoing discussion where Reynor says that Lingbane Muda is fine against battle mech and everybody else disagreeing with him. And he's like, no, I can beat everybody. I can beat everyone with Lingbane Muda. So there is a chance that he's going to do that here once again, even though most Terran players will say, like, yeah, please play Lingbane Muda because we think we can deal with that.
Didn't he have a show match against Marine Lord?
Yep.
And he lost it, right?
Yep, he lost it.
So maybe it's not the best idea to go Lingbane Muda. I personally don't think.
Good focus fire there by HeroMarine. That's so important. Sniping those Banes. I mean, the aliens still are a little bit trapped. And most of them, well, actually gets out of there with 4. Well done, man. That's
really big deal. That's so many Zerglings. Yeah. All those Zerglings could have been drones, right, as well. It's just four Hellions losing that.
I really love the little dance that we saw there, because Reynor is also trying to do something cool. He's trying to trap the Hellions and then force them into the Banes, but it's just really good crisis management there by HeroMarine. Immediately sniping those Banes, dropping the turrets as well, and still getting out of there. Excellent play.
And it's going to be battle mech. It's not the quote-unquote more standard style of mech. It's
slow mech.
Yeah, well, the older style of mech. Let's say it like that. The tanks, the Thors.
We saw a little bit of that yesterday. Bunny tried it as well, and Bunny tried it against Lambo on this map, and it felt really underwhelming. It was just,
I think TY did as well.
Yeah, and apparently that was not underwhelming. Apparently that was really good.
Well, TY didn't lose a map yesterday, so that's what you would guess, right? The Queens seem a little bit out of position, but maybe it's just enough links to scare off the Hellions. Losing the Raven would be really annoying, so that's what he's going to save. But all the Hellions, they're expendable. They really are. You don't obviously want to lose them for nothing, but Reynor is still building links, and he's not yet at the more or less magical 80 drone mark. That's when you feel really, really confident in just trading and just jumping on top of big armies. So yeah, as long as he doesn't really have that, it's going to be tough.
How do you feel about interactions like that? Not too disastrous for HeroMarine, right?
You mean the trade?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good trade. I guess Hellions are just mineral units. You want to trade out a little bit. And I think they even traded better than, like, resources-wise. Yeah, they did better. Yeah,
I mean, it was like, this time it was 30 Hellions, or excuse me, 30 Zerglings, maybe going down for 8 Hellions. So it was definitely better than the first fight for Reynor. The first one was really rough. But I'm with you guys as well, just because I like forcing out units from Zerg players, and I like having them to build new units as well. Because if you just let Reynor get that 80+ drone count immediately, then we all know this is going to be a very tough game. Now we do see some fun, cool, interesting stuff on our screen. The Nidus network, the Swarmos are on the way.
That's not Lingbane Muda.
That's actually the Cyril approach of mech.
Yeah, but of mech, but not of battle mech, I think.
No,
so, right?
He does it against battle mech.
Really, he does that.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't always do that, at least. But so I'm curious seeing if that works or not, because I personally would say if HeroMarine is just on top of his game, this goes super, super wrong for Reynor. Like, insanely wrong.
Why is he getting 9 Banes now, guys? What's the idea behind that?
Speed Bane's great for defense versus Hellion run-bys. I think it's just like he's just getting some, so he has any, because there was like this first squad of Hellion Cyclone moving out, and when there is just like
the first Nidus actually.
That's
very big. That is indeed a very nice little pickoff. Of course, guys, the basic upgrades for HeroMarine are done. He's got Blue Flame, he's got Macfield Accelerator as well.
Damage on those Cyclones versus Rocks.
It is very good. I do think, though, like if you're saying that this is the Sero approach, like Sero in general does get infestors pretty damn quickly to lock that army down, and obviously landing Corrosive Bowels on top of it. The combo of Fungal and Corrosive Bowels is really good. If Reynor is going to do this without infestors, I'm not 100% sure how it will play out. But hey, let's see. Swarmos obviously do have a lot of potential.
Like he's chasing a little too far here. That hurt. And now, look, please please be careful. Like, treat carefully. That is
He
a
also
big
forgot
army.
bailing speeds. He's just now getting.
Oh wow, yeah,
it's
you're right.
halfway
I
done,
totally
but
missed it.
he probably wanted it to be finished already.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I mean, this is painful,
This
right?
going-
The Swarmos have been out for a while, and so far the Locusts and
And-
Swarmos have done absolutely nothing. There is no base to kill over there, so they lose a lot of their lifetime as well. The Sense Tower is going to spot it. You can just run away if you're HeroMarine. I don't think you even need to do this. Now he ends up losing just one Cyclone there maybe.
Yeah.
Something on the bottom.
Like really, yeah, those Swarmers, they didn't do anything just yet, and that's where I feel like it just can go super wrong. Because, well, it's a big investment you're making. It's a lot of supply you're using. You're not really advancing your army at all. Like Infestors, they become really good if they're out already a while on the map because they have energy, right? So yeah, it's, man, the upgrades for HeroMarine, that is crazy. 3-3 on the way at 10:30 for Mech.
So when are we going to see some additional star points going down? Because I do feel where he shines the most is getting those lips again, right?
Yeah,
With
they're
the
gonna
advanced
come
ballistics.
I think
soon.
as soon as he's maxed out, there will be this time. Maybe he's also feeling as long as there's... Yeah, he's... You're right, exactly. Just a couple moments longer. No, he's not maxed out anymore. What you saying now?
These mains do get some good connection there on the Cyclones. HeroMarine still running away. The depots are obviously all of them lowered. Maybe a couple of SCVs can go down. This definitely going a bit better for HeroMarine than perhaps, for Reynor than we anticipated. In the end, he gets a couple of Hellions and Hellbats there. Not too many SCVs yet, though.
Yeah, nothing really too big, but a lot of the army went down. I still feel like this is a good position, and I also feel like as long as Reynor is still trying to push really hard with Ling Bane, Ravager, and the Swarmhost, I feel like not having Liberators is a good, still pretty good for HeroMarine, because smaller amounts of Liberators, they get destroyed by Ravagers pretty easily. You can snipe them off one by one, and only really large amounts.
I feel like this is a pretty big moment as well. If HeroMarine keeps the Planetary alive, that would be massive for him. It takes a lot of damage though, and it goes down. So that's a sweet pick-off for Reynor. And I absolutely feel that's what he needed there as well.
But has a finished one.
Just moves. The other one, like, right there is like, I expected this to happen.
Couple of Cyclones and Hellions do get picked off over here as well. Surprise, guys, we haven't seen a single Infestor yet. Is Reynor even tier 3, by the way?
He has a Hive, yeah.
Okay. He doesn't have Adreno
But
yet, right?
also no Vipers, so, man.
He's got nothing of Hive. Like, he's got the Hive done, but he hasn't really used it yet.
Yeah, and I think HeroMarine actually, he realized that and added some tanks into his composition.
I was going to ask you about it. What do you feel about tanks in this phase in game against all these Ravagers, but also, of course, the Locusts are still out
I
there?
think against this amount of Banelings, you want to have some tanks.
Okay.
Normally you don't want any tanks, but yeah, basically when the Zerg gets too many Banelings or Infestors, you want tanks.
Well, that's quite a
Yeah,
few
that's
Locusts, and we know how this story goes, guys. If the SCVs are not there to repair it immediately,
The other
they
60
will all
die
go down.
as well,
Actually,
right?
a couple of SCVs are going to go down as well, guys.
Too many Locusts going after the SCVs. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Okay, too many SCVs, Locusts going after the SCVs, and now... Oh, the Banelings
Blank.
from the side. That is pretty good start of the engagement, and as long as he can stop HeroMarine from getting a really good push-up with 200 supply, I think he's fine. I still don't like as you said, there is no Hive tech really. He does have the Hive, but there are no upgrades. There are no Vipers even. There is nothing of the Hive just yet.
At this point, HeroMarine just kind of playing whack-a-mole and trying to take care of all of these Niduses that are trying to pop up. At the same time, we do still have this dance in the middle of the map. That previous fight was really sweet for Reynor and all, but it wasn't a full cleanup, right? And even though it was good, I don't believe the next fight is going to be as good. So I think eventually Reynor does need a better plan here, guys. Okay, there we go. We do get the Vipers and stuff.
The space can't go down.
No, it won't. This time he saves it.
Good.
So,
Very good.
like,
The entire army and mass repair was enough, guys.
1.5 seconds longer, and those Locusts would have ruined the planetary.
I would
for
really
sure.
like to see the units lost.
I think Reynor lost a little more.
Yeah, just a little.
I said a little. Bailey's
Oh,
coming
man,
in once
a
again.
big flank, but this time the tanks are they're taking apart a lot of the army, and now
That's why I'm worried about. Like the previous fight was, I think, really sweet. This one was somehow pretty good as well, but I don't think it was really that fantastic. And Reynor needs more, man, because Reynor only has 800 gas in the bank as well. Now he's being pushed by a very scary, powerful Terran army. There are no Brute Lords, guys. The Vipers are just there, by the way. I mean, the tanks do
dying now. Yeah, just a couple of blinding clouds, but they don't do anything.
The roaches, the locusts are going to show up too, so that's nice. Reynor will get the cleanup in the end. But don't be too fooled. There was a lot with the reinforcements as well, though, right? He built a lot of roaches that helped out. But hey, that was definitely still damn good in the end.
Actually, HeroMarine is now behind in units lost. So that was actually not the great trade he was looking for. Just barely, but it is like he lost 1,500 resources more, roughly. And yes, HeroMarine has a lot of workers, but they're not mining too much.
How many drones have gone down in this game?
40-ish, no. Just those. Nice.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asked is like those were the very first drones that have come out in a 15-minute game. And obviously I know the style is completely different than New Repak, but I feel that's why he won New Repak, because he was able to kill workers over and over again.
That was, I kind of thought like the Ravens did maybe a little more, but you're completely right. No. Oh man,
that was good.
Yeah.
Especially, like, it was extra funny because those 8 drones just died.
No, you're right. It's just like, oh man. Now, I thought of those Lynx dying earlier, but he traded with Lynx actually versus the Hellions and the Raven. So yeah, big, It's
a big difference, right? This time it's Reynor who's dealing the economic damage and HeroMarine not really finding those openings. But hey, we know Big Ape is still in it, but there's still no star points. It's just more and more of the same, guys. Cyclones, Hellions, and tanks are going to have to get the job done here. But yeah, against even if it's just 2 or 3 Brute Lords, right? That would be deadly. That's really not a position you want to find yourself in as a Terran.
Yeah, so this time I feel like Reynor is really using his advantage, his momentum a little better. And yeah, so those Swarmos now, they've been finally doing really some work over time. And that's a big deal here. I was really scared for the push, obviously, because when HeroMarine stood in his face, it's like, well, what you gonna do now? But it was just barely enough. And the Swarmos, they're always taking the supply away, right? So
I mean, we are starting to get a couple of Liberators here and there, but obviously they don't have the upgrades yet. And it's only single starport as far as I know, so this is nothing too super crazy. HeroMarine is obviously maxed out as well. He's got a lot of SCVs, by the way, guys. 81, so if he loses a couple, that wouldn't even be too bad. He's starting to push back the creep, so that's obviously something that our German Terran can work with. Good job there as well, evacuating those SCVs. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Maybe he wants it. Maybe he's just
maybe
like,
true. Maybe
he had 81. He did have 81,
because
right?
He's probably not going to look to advance his tech too much further anymore, just because he can't really fight for the map control too much. So maybe he's just trying to like get a really big ball of Hellion Cyclone and just try to trade like that.
And I guess he's just harassing with the Lib right now. Is that what's happening? If I look at the it's always funny when you see how the drones go up, right? Like 1, 2, 3, and then it's like, hey, that feels like a Liberator harass somewhere. There are some roaches in the natural being annoying. They're gonna stall the gas mine, and that's something that HeroMarine needs to stay on top of. He's got minerals in the bank. I really like the harass. Like, ever since HeroMarine started harassing since minute 15, and now I suddenly feel like the game is going better for him because he's actually getting some good damage done. Banes do come in from multiple angles once again, but it's off creep, and he's gonna be forced to disengage. Now the Cyclones show up in the middle of the map as well. Oh, your Vipers. Be careful with your Vipers, Reynor.
I also think like you don't really want to pull in the Cyclones right now because there are so many Banelings. There's so little behind that.
And not to forget, a lot of supply of Reynor is in the Swarm House.
Yes.
So it's not actually a fighting army. It's always on the other side.
Oh my god, the corrosive piles just hit like 2 Cyclones there. This is not something that happens usually. Man, this Liberator has been doing all the work.
More workers.
Woo!
I mean, I guess Reynor barely has proper anti-air, right? Other than those Ravages. This is super annoying.
Yeah, like he didn't really advance either. He's just staying on the Slingbane Ravager, even though he got the Great Aspire by now.
You know what I'm most shocked by, guys, is that, like, if I think of Reynor, I think of obviously an incredibly fast player, but I feel that it's HeroMarine who's shining more in the chaos so far in this series. As soon as multiple fights happen, as soon as there is harassment all over the place, I actually truly feel that HeroMarine is getting the better of Reynor, and that's not something I would have necessarily expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here I also feel like, again, this is just Reynor not really setting himself up.
At Reynor, by the way.
Yeah, to be exactly, because he's not really setting himself up to be ahead of the Chaos, because he has been pretty low on the upgrades. He hasn't been really using the Vipers that are really good at like dealing with Chaos. And just now getting 3-3, just now getting Adrenal, if you are looking for Chaos, man, those are the upgrades you want.
No, you're spot on there. I mean, Reynor does still have an army, guys, so I don't want to count him out, but it really doesn't look that pretty anymore. It looks uglier than before. Now, Vipers can absolutely turn things around, guys. A couple Blinding Clouds, Abducts, slowly but steady, can really start making the difference as well, but we still have those Locusts, and the Locusts are still being annoying. They've picked off pretty much everything that ever was there.
And that
Reynor is starting to feel really broke.
Does
that
Reynor
base
even know
at the
about
top,
the top base?
Yeah, I don't think he does.
That's such a weird base as well. Who takes that base?
Yeah, exactly. And there's like, but I think that's key in this moment, right? Just
Yeah.
like, well,
I mean, if he doesn't harass it at all.
I love that. It's like, yeah, I'm defending this right, and then bam, still 4 workers good.
yeah, exactly.
Right
like
on
this
the edge.
one Baneling.
Yeah. The shot that was going to kill the Bane was already in midair. You're like, I'm doing good, right? Bam. Here are a couple of these Abducts that I was talking about, but at the same time, so many lock-ons, though. Look at these Cyclones go. There's that tank as well on the back. That tank is so sweet because that provides the cover and safety that these Cyclones and Hellions need. And even though that may have looked even, I kind of liked it for HeroMarine.
Absolutely. Just because he also, like,
So even.
with the Viper energy, you want to trade well, but just trading even isn't good enough because you're looking to just trade well with those Vipers. If you aren't trading well with the help of Vipers, how are you even going to trade well, right?
Exactly, and he just used all of that energy, so he needed a bit more there, and he didn't get it. HeroMarine is going to try to put some pressure over here. His tank this time is not siege. Is there a flank or something? No, there's not. At the same time, he's also multi-prong harassing. There are some locusts here, but hey, you can just run away and avoid those for now. HeroMarine's playing incredibly good, guys, and I really feel like he's just getting the better of Reynor.
Yeah.
So maybe HeroMarine is actually playing a lot versus Reynor more than just against any Zerg this series, because I feel like this little bit of lack of harassment, just like taking it slow, taking it defensive, just being a bit careful about everything. I think this just is really playing versus Reynor, where he's just saying, look, I can slowly try to take you make back fights, right? It's just like, and again, he's surrounding him with the Battle Mech army.
So kind of like the Blinding Cloud there, spacing it out, but HeroMarine is just not stopping. Has to be a little bit careful because a lot of his Cyclones are low on HP, and he did just lose 16 SCVs somewhere as well. Maybe a couple of Banes wriggled into that mineral line. But, I mean, the lock-ons here, and there's this, the lack of infestors, guys, is absolutely killing me. If I think back of every Cerro game I've seen against this composition, it's the infestor, and this is a map as well with a lot of high grounds, right? So you can land sick fungals from the high ground and then drop it off with a couple of corrosive balls, and it's a slam dunk. Woohoo! You know, our race is awesome, but not having those infestors, it pains me.
For Vipers, also on Drinath, you usually see more like 7 to 10.
Now he sees the base.
Yeah.
And that's just like, man, and that base has been really big deal for HeroMarine. He's been mining a lot of it. So one thing also I would love to see from Reynor would be more of Baneling run bys, because right now the Banelings with +3, they one-shot SCVs because they don't have upgrades. So you saw those 16 SCVs die. This could have been 4 Banes. They just hit completely correctly. So it's just like,
oh, that's nice as well. He's going to grab a couple of these Swarm Moles. I mean, HeroMarine is all over the place, guys. And Reynor is slowly but steady just dying a painful death. He did just finally make his first 2 infestors, by the way, but I'm afraid that that's a little too late. I mean, those 2 boys have a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
Just like in game 1, way too late. I would like to see him add infestors way earlier and just take it a bit more defensive, maybe. I don't know.
Either that or like go more like he seems a little indecisive on what he wants to do, really. Like, it isn't this full-on chaos. Let's get a Nidus here and a drop overlord there with 8 links and just get the upgrades and just get, like, try to really push your advantage and try to move between Lingbane Muta, Lingbane Ravager, Lingbane Hydra, Roaches, stuff like that.
We never had Broodlords, right?
No.
But we have a Great Aspire.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny as well. Like, I feel like in the previous game, he got the Infestor upgrades, and then he also never made Infestors. I think you're spot on, Ian Blue. It just feels that Reynor is like kind of putting him in a position where I can do everything, but in the end, he does a little bit of a couple of things, but nothing true proper, no real commitment there. And it feels like the real plan to win the game at a certain point isn't there.
And that's why I also feel like it feels a bit wonky what HeroMarine is doing as well. Yeah. And that is just because I feel like he is playing versus Reynor. Yeah. I try to bring up the point because I don't think you can do that nearly as well when someone has a way clearer plan of what he wants to do and how he wants to deal with it. Like, even if you just go 7 Vipers or 10 Vipers and just try to trade really long with Hydras and Banes and get the upgrades and harass a lot, I think Reynor would have been fine, but he doesn't do anything properly here. So yeah, it's just rough. He's just kind of choking him out of these games.
The writing is on the wall for this one, though, guys. Like, Reynor is obviously not going to give up yet because he's hoping for, I don't know, a miraculous Blinding Cloud, Fungal, Corrosive
I don't
Ball.
know how big the Fungal would need to be because, like...
They need to be over our entire screen, mate.
I think that one Fungal would need to be larger than Fungal could actually be.
So the old Fungal. I mean, there's a few more lock-ons there, and I think Reynor's about to tap out. GG. HeroMarine, big game, playing some phenomenal StarCraft here, guys, at HomeStoryCup. Gets the 2-0 lead. He's now 1 map away from advancing to the next round, and that would be, I mean, I wouldn't say it's an upset, right? Like HeroMarine beating Reynor, an upset, maybe like a tiny minor upset, because I still think more people favor Reynor over HeroMarine. But damn, man, Big Gabe is just showing us that you cannot count him out.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't looking that great for some time in this game too, and he just pulled back again.
Yeah, so yeah, it's really just similar to the first game, just a different style this time around. But HeroMarine, he's just sitting calm and relaxed. It's just like, let's take this step by step. We're slowly getting there, and I feel that's where those games are just seeming a little weird.
I feel where a lot of it went wrong as well for Reynor, or maybe where things started to go right for HeroMarine rather, is that like at the first 15 minutes, he's like, you know, I'm just going to get this army and I'm going to pay a lot of attention to the fights. And then like, yeah, he's trading a little bit back and forth, but it wasn't truly going anywhere. And he's like, you know what? I should start killing some drones, shouldn't I? And I feel from like minute 15 to minute 20, he legit killed like 50 drones or something. It actually started to rack up so quickly. We saw that one Liberator getting 20 plus kills, a couple of the Hellion Rumbys getting 10, 12 kills. And at that point, it just felt like he was getting the better of Reynor in those moments of chaos. And that's weird to me, because if I think of somebody who excels at chaos, I would normally think that is Reynor, because he is so freaking fast, but HeroMarine just bested him there.
I feel like just this with the harassment, and it started to work out immediately and very, very fast. Before, it was really that Reynor was just putting on so much pressure, and HeroMarine didn't really have the breathing room. But as soon as he got the breathing room, he started doing it, and then he immediately pulled back, So, yeah, I'm interested to see what is the third map actually. Kara's Junction, yes.
Okay.
So,
I think that's a good map in general for Reynor when it comes to his link stuff. I don't think we're going to see Battle Mech on this map. I actually think he's going to play Bio.
Yeah.
But I think that this is where we're going to see Reynor shine. Normally I would say like this is a good map for Reynor, because I can already see the run-bys happen. I can already see the Baneling flanks coming in from every angle.
It's also a little bit easier to like really jump on top of bases, because
and end the game as well.
Exactly.
The map is a lot smaller, so if you get a good fight, a good run-by, and then you just pounce on a base, you can actually just end games a lot quicker on Kairos.
Especially because you can reinforce super fast, and then you have your big army again more quickly than on Acropolis.
Although it's HeroMarine's pick, so maybe he wanted it way more than...
There were only 3 maps left, also, so maybe he just doesn't like the large map for Zerg.
Also, I talked to Snoot, and he told me that Kairos Junction is not that good for Zerg. So I don't know how other Zergs feel, but...
I think in general it's a sweet map for Terran, don't get me wrong. I just think sometimes, like, I think what applies more is like how good is a certain player and his strengths on a map, right? Like in most scenarios, I'd probably say like, yeah, TVZ makes sense that the Terran wants to play on Kairos, but I actually feel like that is a good map for Reynor with, you know, the style that he plays and the points in the game where he excels. I feel like it just suits him, you know?
Yeah, I agree completely on that point, where it's just really it's more playing versus Reynor, picking or in general in this series, where it's just like, well, look, I'm just careful. And Kairos is just like the map where you can jump way more easily on top of armies. You can get those surrounds and immediately go for bases afterwards. It's not the fights that are like super far away.
And I think it's just a great map for counterattacks in general, and it's a great map for run-by. So hopefully Reynor can get some of that Reynor magic going, because the WCS Winter Champion, guys, is actually in some trouble here. And I really thought that Reynor was going to have a very deep run this Home Story Cup. Obviously, he's not been bad. I really don't want to say it's been an underwhelming performance so far, but he didn't finish top 2 in his group, and now he did win that first round. Obviously, he played against DNS, is that correct? In the lower bracket?
He won 3-0 against DNS.
But now, being on the ropes already against HeroMarine, yeah, it's not the run I would have predicted. I would have predicted him to go further, but he's not out yet. Maybe the Italian can give us some of that magic we know he's capable of.
Yeah, just standard opening for both of the players again. Nothing unusual.
So for now, HeroMarine is staying true to what he told Naruto. It's just like, yeah, I'm playing standard. I'm like, not. I was going to ask like if you're maybe expecting Proxy Rex, but I feel like that's especially like I just don't see it on any of the maps really.
Nah.
Thunderbird maybe.
Just because of HeroMarine, I don't see it. Not necessarily because I don't feel like he's capable of it, but so far I don't think I've seen a non-standard game from him.
I think he looks at both these games and be like, that wasn't even perfect for me. I wasn't even in bad scenarios, and I won both of them. So why would he, right? Like, yeah, it's obviously possible, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because HeroMarine will look at that new Repugnancy game and be like, can't believe I won that. You know, like I had the feeling I was pretty dead at one point, and we all thought he was, but he turned it around. And then even Acropolis, like he did a very good job, I think, defending the initial wave of Nidus, right? Because the first Nidus Locust is often the ones that hurt the most, right? They're the scariest because then you don't have that many units. And if you do end up losing units, that just stinks. So I think he did a very good job there. But after that, it started to feel like, okay, maybe he got a little overeager with the Cyclones, Hellions. He got flanked a couple of times, didn't see it coming. But hey, he survived all of that, and he won those games. So he's probably like, yeah, whatever, I can do even better. And if I'm already winning with this, why change it?
Absolutely. So I would love to see from HeroMarine something more aggressive this time around. Maybe Hellbat timing. Maybe just because the map is smaller, and maybe also because he's been very, very far from this kind of timing oriented so far. Like the first 2 maps, he was always going to be a little careful, like a little defensive, scouting actively and all that. So maybe we'd catch him off guard, and also he's up to 0. He can take a map loss just to throw Reynor off of his game plan for the coming maps, maybe. So even if Reynor has now talked to Lambo and just like maybe, getting some intel, maybe getting some ideas on what to do, if he goes for such an aggressive thing and Reynor is still in the mindset of like, okay, late game, and maybe I should get more of those units and like look earlier to get those units, like Infestors, Broodlords, Vipers, all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly a push comes like that, Hellbat timing, yeah, you're in for trouble.
Insane, since you're a German Terran player, so is Big Gabe. Do you have a close relationship with him or not too much?
We talk from time to time. We don't talk like every day, but when we meet at events, we just talk. Here at HomeStoryCup or WCS Spring, we actually shared an Uber and stuff. We went out on a flight, so we had a lot of time to talk. And yeah, other than that, we don't really practice or something. I don't.
Do you ever ask him like if you're struggling in a certain matchup and be like, yo, like if anybody can help me, maybe like Gabe will take the time for me, or are you not that close?
I think Gabe doesn't play any customs with anyone.
Okay.
At least I've never known any of this. And he just seems like a player who plays ladder only. He watches Koreans and that's it.
But if you're like, let's say, like you just can't beat Zerg for your life depending on it, would you ever like DM him, or are you not that close?
I would probably just get some replays from his stream maybe and steal one of those, or look here, the HomeStoryCup replays and take one of them. But I'm normally not the type of guy that asks for help from HeroMarine at least.
I see. All right, we've got a bunch of Hellions over here and a Reaper as well. The first Roaches, by the way, already
this time no bailing nest.
out. Nope. That's actually not the style that I predicted from Reynor at all. But maybe he has been struggling with some of those timings on this map that Terran obviously is known for. The bio timings can be very powerful here. We all know about this spot on the south side of Reynor's third base where we've got those rocks.
Actually being aggressive with those, I don't feel like
I don't get it at all, guys.
This is like...
those are not enough roaches for that.
Yeah.
He's still building links now,
It's
so...
a donation, that's what it is. Is he attacking, by the way? Does he have a lair? What is his build, Reynor? Okay, I have no idea what Reynor is doing.
Maybe, like,
He has a
he's
lot of
getting
things.
more roaches now. What is
This is
he's
not going
now-
anywhere.
Like, now he has a lot of links. Just like like obviously he has a decent drone count with 51, but that could be so much better right now.
He's got no tech. That's what I'm more worried
Yes,
about, right? Like the
exactly.
drone count somehow looks decent, but the only thing he has is a roach barn and a spawning pool. He's got no lair.
Now
What is
double
this?
Evo chamber just to get. Now he even starts now the lair.
We don't have cloak, by
So-
the way, right? It's a cloakless Banshee. Yeah. Imagine if that is a cloak Banshee, by the way, with no spore crawler there.
And no overseer.
He's
That-
just
yeah,
now.
that'd be so painful.
Oh,
With only one
no,
queen
you-
there, though, this can still get a little bit dicey. Come on, those Hellions, they could have maybe gone for
Oh,
the
he could
drones.
have gotten all of those drones. No units in position. The links were way too far away.
But this is already so damn
Yeah.
good for HeroMarine. Guys, I'm generally confused. I don't understand the game plan of Reynor here.
Oh, no, the links. But yeah, so I feel like, yes, he could have taken a dive with the Hellions and just like get the drones, but I feel like HeroMarine is very, very comfortable right now in
Yeah,
this
of
game.
course.
So why take a risk and lose the Hellions for the drones if Reynor is the kind of guy who would not rebuild those drones and just go for it now? So like just take it safe, and I feel like that's the right approach. But,
Okay, I was about to say, I feel like the only thing that I can see that Reynor tried to do is try to get us surrounded with the links and then use these roaches on the other side of the map and then just pounce on the Hellions and take care of all of them. And if this would have happened 2 or 3 minutes ago, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that was actually pretty damn good. Now I really don't think that HeroMarine cares that much anymore. HeroMarine has achieved so much by doing not that much, but Reynor just kind of killing himself this game. Like, I mean, yes, he is getting the double upgrades now, guys. The Baneling Nest is being
Super
thrown
late.
down, but just think, like, the Baneling Nest not even done yet. When are we going to see Baneling speed?
everything is just so late. Well, 1-1 is finished for HeroMarine now. He has tanks, he has Marines. He didn't really commit too much into the Hellion project. He has only one Banshee. So there is just like so little commitment from HeroMarine and so much commitment from Reynor, and nothing really happened there.
I feel almost that Reynor tried something that he normally doesn't do or something. And he's like, yeah, you know, make a
Yeah.
couple roaches and then you can get a surround on the Hellions and it's really good. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll try it. But it looked silly and clumsy. I mean, a couple of 5 or 6 slow roaches, sending them to the other side of the map while there is a Banshee out as well. Like against somebody who's as good as HeroMarine, you're never going to get anything done there.
And
Yeah, maybe he did it because he wanted to scare off HeroMarine, put him in his space, make him defend way more than he should. Just like a small pressure, but it didn't work out at all. He even chased the roaches with the Hellions, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if the Terran goes AFK, you can absolutely get a couple of them, but these roaches, they don't have the speed upgrade, so they were going to be very slow.
So there's
Anyway.
a really fast infestation pit now. I am massively confused. I'm just on your side there. I don't know really what Reynor's going for. And
But I mean, the bio is here as well.
okay.
He's going to try to get it. He does have that fort base up and running right next to his main, right? Yes, but now there are a couple of Marines showing up, and the unit's a little bit out of position there. At least there are 1 or 2 Banelings in the mix, so Reynor keeps this alive as well. I must say, Reynor did a good job in surviving the previous minute and a half, because I was actually very worried for him. At least he has not taken more damage. And hey, Baneling speed done, 82 drones. It is a very playable game again. This was definitely not a pretty start for the young Italian, but I do feel he did a really good job in the last minute and a half.
So I feel like, again, though, HeroMarine is just playing a bit more defensive. He doesn't really commit a whole lot to his pressure. And if there is enough tanks, if he really just goes for maybe a 2-2 timing, this can go wrong really fast. Even though Reynor didn't die yet, this is still not a great position for him, I feel like.
Nope, but he's still in it. And that's not
Absolutely.
something I necessarally told it 4 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah,
when I was
yeah.
generally
Absolutely.
very worried for everything.
Yes.
Maybe he's going to go for Ultras this game, guys?
Man, I don't...
I think Reynor is an ultra guy, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine that, but I don't really like Ultras ever too much versus Terran, especially ever since the tanks have been what they have been, and the kind of way people have been playing again, the Marauders back to its old state. I really don't like Ultras, but maybe he is going for them, yeah.
What are the units lost resources like? So not too many units have gone down, but obviously twice as many on the side of Reynor. He does have that economy right now, guys, of the 82 drones. Maybe he can get these medevacs. The corrosive ball does not connect. Is there another sport crawler here? Yes, there is, but it's a bit out of position.
And the Queen didn't
No
shoot the medevac.
queens. I mean,
And now there's a big 2-2 push. Even though it's not a timing, he didn't really use his timing, but he's going for 3-3 as well.
Oh no, this drop in the main base could potentially hurt quite a bit. There are only 2 banelings there, he needs more! Unless they disconnect, and that's exactly what they do. But HeroMarine is out everywhere at once. I mean, obviously you can't really blame Big Ape there for not seeing all the movements of all these banelings. There is a massive counterattack now. These are the counterattacks we were talking about. No Adreno glance, by the way, guys. Hive has been done for a minute. He doesn't have that yet. Don't exactly know what's happening over here. These tanks on the high grounds, they should provide enough cover for these Marines.
All the corrosive biles are going to get just one of the tanks. Definitely could have gotten both there.
And this run by definitely paying off, getting 21 SCVs.
Yeah.
Well, this was a big risk by Reynor, but it paid off.
Come on, Reynor, get Adreno. You've got the money.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to actually get on top of these tanks as well. I mean, it wasn't for free, but hey, that's -2 tanks, and those were the tanks closer as well to his base. He kept that hatchery alive as
There's
well.
that Ultra then.
Reynor's economy is still looking really good with both bases staying up and alive. And he's now getting Vipers, so maybe there is a shimmer of hope in this series. So, like, definitely. So the 4th base is up for HeroMarine, and 3-3 is up and coming, but it's definitely looking better again than just 3-4 minutes ago, I feel like.
Having some drones in your army.
Is that +3 armor or kindness? I can't really see it
That's
from here.
armor. That's armor. Yeah.
So it's obviously important that he gets kindness plating as well. There we go.
Yeah. Now we. But even that is also a bit late again. And
I mean,
Nah,
yeah.
it's just finished.
This one is not too bad. Those were actually the very first ultras. But what I'm more shocked about is that we still don't have Adreno, guys. And he built so many lings and so many banelings.
oh, now he's
nice
getting
drop.
the base and even the drones. Yeah.
Man, he's been on top.
Yeah, HeroMarine is actually playing a really good series. There is a baneling crashing into those Marines. But once again, Reynor tried to go for a big run by there, this time not getting too much done. Slowly but steady, HeroMarine is making his way to the other side of the map. And if HeroMarine now takes a commanding victory, he can snipe the Ultralisk Cavern actually before kindness plating is done. That would be an incredibly big
Ooh,
pickup.
and the Vipers.
But now, right before 3-3 finishes, that's a really good timing for Reynor.
Yeah,
He's
wow.
coming in from all sides, and the blinding clouds hit all the tanks. So, what a cleanup!
Yep, I mean, it wasn't the entire army of HeroMarine, right? He's still at 170 supply, but yeah, that was definitely a convincing victory for Reynor, and he saves his Cavern, which obviously is very important because he wants to get kindness plating. And there we go with Adreno, by the way,
What's
guys.
also worth noting is, look at the Reynor's creep. He has been denying it everywhere, and those Ultras really need creep
Yep.
to fight good. So he's gonna have to fight off creep if he wants it to attack.
But a lot of that goes back to that early game, right? And the opening. With that opening, it's just going to be very hard to take the
Yeah.
map control that you would normally have. Because normally where Zerg is looking for openings, this time Reynor was just focused on defending. That was his only option. HeroMarine is doing a super good job in denying these bases, picking them off, now finding a couple of drones for himself as well. Guys, other than the first 5 minutes, I think HeroMarine has played a phenomenal best of 5. I truly mean that.
And he... Reynor's on
Reynor-
3 bases again.
Reynor played a phenomenal best of 5, right?
No, I think HeroMarine, he's the one
HeroMarine
that's...
did as
He's the
well.
one winning.
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing a crazy good
Yeah.
best of 5.
I think Reynor has
Yeah.
made a couple of questionable decisions, and obviously HeroMarine struggled a bit in this first 5 to 10 minutes on
And
Neuropugnancy. But other than that, man, like I'm generally very, very impressed with the things that HeroMarine is showing us over here.
Absolutely. Oh man, that medic.
Parasitic Bum is going to pick up one of these medevacs.
What a
I mean,
beast.
over and over and over again. It's like, nope, you're going to be a 3-base Zerg for a little bit. It's like, nobody deserves to be a 3-base Zerg, Big Ape. That's just me.
Man, that's rough. The middle base is also not taken by Reynor at all so far, even though it's hard to defend, but so far HeroMarine has been very focused on the sides, obviously.
Another run by. I mean, there's just no creep, right, to see these attacks coming in time. So HeroMarine is going to pick up that Spore Crawler, get a couple of these drones. Just a few links. We'll scare it away for now. I think Reynor knows that when they fight, he doesn't just need to win the fight, he needs to absolutely crush and murder the fight. And then they can actually get on top of maybe production or a base as well.
This is going to be harder and harder and harder as time goes by, especially because HeroMarine, he is again not committing everything. Even the fight earlier that went really badly for HeroMarine, that was not his whole army, so
No.
Reynor just couldn't jump on top of him. And Now he's getting Liberators, he's getting Advanced Ballistics and the Ghost Academy. All the upgrades he
And
needs.
Big Ape still got the hatch with that push, right? Like, that's the funny thing. Even though it looked like a disastrous fight, he got the hatchery there for a little bit, and that's obviously very nice. I mean, I think Gabe is indeed just waiting for the Advanced Ballistics to finish up. Reynor would love to get something done with that big Zerg army that he has, but HeroMarine is like, nope. I'm actually perfectly fine where I am. I've got the planetary, I've got tanks everywhere. These Banelings, they do connect with a couple of these SCVs, but HeroMarine is obviously fine, guys. He's rich. Oh, no.
On the high ground.
Definitely in a better position than in game 1. And he's opting for going for the same game. And I think it should be even better this time for him.
Yeah.
I feel like Ultras aren't the unit that you can sustain and keep for a long time. It's more of a timing-oriented unit. So when you get Carapace, when you then get your upgrades on the Ultras, that you then go for a big push. But they're not really the unit that can trade very efficiently. So they're not a great unit for the ultra late game.
I think it also depends economically, right? Like, it's kind of a swarmy style. If you are super rich and you can throw wave after wave of Lings, Banes, and Ultras, and then eventually pop out a couple with a Nidus in the main or something like that, maybe it could work. But this time, like I said, Reynor doesn't just need to win the fight. He needs to win a fight very, very convincingly, and then maybe get a little more out of it. It's going to get harder and harder, guys. The first goals are on the way. This time he might get the planetary here with these Banes, a couple of Ultras in the mix, a double cancel there as well on those two command centers. So this was pretty damn good by Reynor. Just don't lose the Ultras.
Nope. For one, don't lose the Ultras. And two, if Reynor can get up a massive army, like 150, that is not the kind of Zerg style where you can actually like kill a Terran with 150 army supply and then get on top of the production.
He's gonna get so many lips as well.
Oh, he didn't hit it.
That's rough, not hitting that last corrosive pile there.
You guys use that flyer indicator as well, right?
Yeah, but sometimes, especially, like, you see the ground below it, that's a bit
weird.
sketchy.
Absolutely. And you can't really click on the Liberator, because when it's on high ground, then it also gets really weird, right?
So it's really, I really thought for a second that one missed. So, But yeah, so ranged Liberators, so good for harassment for that exact reason. If there is no Spire.
Just building more and more army on 54 drones.
Yeah, he's just
more
going...
Banelings. I think he wants to go for one really big push and just try to...
Yeah, but he can't run into the lift,
Yeah,
right?
he can't.
Especially not near a planetary as well, because then you already have to dedicate like 20 plus Banelings to the planetary.
Yeah, I feel like this is...
Concussive
This is going really, for HeroMarine. Well, he's just reading the situation well, just staying back. There are a few Vipers, but really, Reynor needs one big engagement of all sides, and this is not the map to do it on. This is not the map where you can get an engagement 360 degrees.
And the Baneling count only is 20 as well, right? That's just not that crazy, right? Like, there's so many scenarios where you see like 50, 60 Banes, and it's like, oh my god, and then the Remax as well. Reynor simply didn't have that money, guys. We are going to get a couple of Infestors once again, finally, but I feel like that is the unit that was missing. Kind of, we have a little bit of a lag spike. To me, a Zerg without Infestors against Terran feels a little bit like Golden State without Kevin Durant.
Protoss has left the game.
It's just not the same. Who is it? Nexus?
Nexus.
No, that's
Yeah, Nexus and ZvT. Exactly. There's just no more Protoss here. Well,
actually, me and Nona is. And
I still think it's ML's fault.
I also think that I think Mapu plays Protoss, right? Mapu, don't tell me you play random. Everybody's got a real rate. No, liar. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's the Tech TV guy.
That's
so,
honorable.
like the Tech TV guys, they're just Terrans.
I feel like all the dedicated observers are Terran. Like Koka's Terran, Funka's Terran.
All right.
It's really funny, man, because in the old days, you know, like when we have rehearsals, sometimes we had like an hour or two to kill. And then it was like the most iconic thing. Because Funka somehow, he just always like ends up losing the game. And there's like, every time we see, because we hop into the game randomly for the rehearsal, it's like a command center flying away and it's on fire. This became like a thing. And I started laughing so hard at one point. It's like, there's always a command center in the air that's somehow in flames.
Look at Emil. He came up exactly just for that. And now he's missing the end of the game, possibly. What a dedicated man, just to keep his internet dreams from stay true.
Emil actually landed a new job very recently. He's moving to Poland to work for Twitch, but he will not stop casting, and he will probably not stop streaming on his own channel either.
He's not.
He's moving to London.
Yeah, sorry, I said it right.
I said to
It's Poland. I was super confused.
Sorry.
Like, he's moving to
yeah,
London.
He's actually
Okay.
sick. He's probably gonna cast less, I guess, but I hope he's sick.
Now we see the big engagement, but there is I just don't see a chance. Some corrosive biles hit really nicely, but
Nope. It's really not good enough, guys. Like a couple of ultras do sort of survive here, but is this enough to really get the planetary? Look at all these liberators that are still around. And Reynor doesn't have a bank, like I said. He doesn't need to win the fight. He needs to absolutely crush a fight, and it simply wasn't going to happen there. That defensive setup was a little too strong from HeroMarine. And look at that bank now, guys, of Reynor. It is gone.
One thing I feel is a bit funny. Every time he's been in a really bad spot, Reynor started building infestors. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. It's just like, well, infestors, they're not working, is maybe his opinion, but he got them 3 times now in really, really bad spots. So there's a reason that is not the infestor why they're not working.
Reynor is a very realistic kid, and he will know that those infestors were not supposed to win the game anymore. But why he doesn't get them in the first place, I don't know. We'll have a little chat with him, and we'll figure it out for you guys. But he clearly tried to get a couple of different things going in this best of 5. And even though this game is still going, guys, Todd is standing behind us, and he's like, shut up, look at it, look at it, look at it. And HeroMarine is close to maxing out. And Reynor just has no more money. He's got very little to work with. And on top of that, he's got an inferior army as well. There goes the Ultralisk Cavern. Damn, man. A 3-0 favor of HeroMarine, guys.
And a very strong one at that. Even though there were like a lot of moments where Reynor got himself into a good position. It's really just, he never came close to closing any of those games out, I feel like.
Morales working on these rounds as well. Reynor perhaps a little bit in disbelief. Lambo staring at the screen. He's wondering if, like, why is this Zerg still in the game?
Oh my god.
I didn't know.
Losing to HeroMarine.
Man, I didn't know Bly was here. So Bly is always the kind of
guy he's the European fantasy for sure.
He really likes to stay in games. So
he's like, I've got 3 drones and a queen. It's possible, right? Bly, you're going up against carriers. So that is a nice little pongo, but it's all just a little too late, guys. Like, there is just nothing anymore on the side of Reynor. Doesn't have the economy. Boop. Getting a couple of these SVs, that's nice. Now he's going to lose his last field rounds as well. Lings running in.